How's it going, my bakers? Hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll show you how to make Kaiser rolls. So let's go to the kitchen and check them out. I've been wanting to make Kaiser rolls for so long. I guess better late than never, right? You can find different versions out there. Some are smaller and crustier, and some are bigger and puffier like these ones. One thing they all have in common is their shape. They are shaped into this kind of star or flower pattern. There are special stamps that can be used to create this pattern, but I will show you an old school braiding technique that achieves this. But besides looking good, they taste amazing. They have a super soft and fluffy texture, and they're sweet and buttery. This could just be the perfect sandwich roll that you've been looking for. So let's get right to it and see exactly what we need to make these Kaiser rolls. We'll need some white bread flour, milk, an egg, softened butter, yeast, salt, sugar, and some seeds. I'm going to use some sesame seeds and some poppy seeds. You can also leave them plain if you want. I think poppy seeds are the most common topping, but for me personally, a mix of both works best. Now as for the equipment, we'll need a tray with some non-stick paper, a bowl, scales, a dough scraper, a temperature probe, and last but not least, we'll need a brush for glazing them with some milk before we bake them. We'll give them a nice golden brown color, and of course, you'll make the seeds stick to the surface. You could of course use egg wash instead if you wanted to. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to use cold milk as ever, since I'm kneading this dough by hand. It's going to warm up a lot, and my kitchen is super hot right now as well. It's the middle of summer here in London. Right, grab a large bowl, combine the milk, the yeast, the salt, the sugar, the egg, and the butter. Basically all ingredients except the flour. Now I have videos in which I advise against adding butter at the beginning, or adding butter and egg at the same time at the beginning. In this case, it's totally fine to add everything from the get-go, because it's a small amount of butter and it's a very low hydration dough. It'll still be very easy to work with. Mix everything well before adding the flour. You want to dissolve the salt, the sugar, and hydrate the yeast. Once you've done that, add the flour, grab your scraper and mix it to a dough. And if the scraper's not doing the job, continue on by hand. Once you've mixed everything up, tip the dough out on the table and start kneading. As I said, it's not sticky at all, it's very easy to work with. Use the regular kneading method. What I like to do is press down and forwards with the heel of my right hand, then using the fingers of my left hand I fold the piece of dough under the heel of my right hand, then turn it and repeat. You want to knead this dough for around 5 minutes. Once you're done, it will be nice and smooth and cohesive. Now you can pop it in a bowl and take its temperature. Around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius is just about right for this. Mine came out a little bit warmer, but that's totally fine. 0.3 of a degree here and there is not a big deal. Now cover up your dough ball and leave it to ferment for 45 to 60 minutes depending on the temperature. If yours came out cooler, leave it for longer. If it came out warmer like mine did, leave it for less time. I left mine for 45 minutes. Halfway through bulk fermentation we need to give this dough a fold to give it some strength. Place the dough out on the table with the smooth side down, then flatten it out, fold the edge over the middle, going around in a circle until you reach point where it started. Then flip it smooth side up again and tighten it against the table. Pop it back into the bowl with the smooth side up, cover it up, leave it to ferment for another 45 to 60 minutes. After bulk fermentation, we can divide this dough. Dust it lightly with flour and weigh it. You want to divide it into 4 equal pieces. You should always weigh your dough before dividing it. If you try to follow the amounts given in the recipe and add them up and divide it that way, it will never end up being the same as it is on paper. You always lose some dough whilst you're mixing, kneading and folding. So for the most consistent results, always weigh your dough before dividing it. And after dividing, we need to pre-shape it. This time we're not shaping these into rounds. When we go for final shaping, this dough will be rolled out nice and long. So we need to shape it in a way that will make it easier for us to do so. That's why it's going to be in this blunt cylinder shape. Simply cross the 2 sides in the middle and then roll the dough up. This elongated shape will get it on the right track for being rolled out nice and long further down the line. After the pre-shaping step, we need to let the dough relax. So cover it up, leave it to rest for 20 minutes. After resting, we can do the final shaping. They're both very similar. I'll make 2 with the first method and 2 with the second method. Then you can decide which ones you like best. Both of them start off exactly the same. Take a piece of dough and roll it out nice and long. I would say this is about 30 centimeters or 1 foot long. You could make it longer, but do not roll it any shorter than this. Now take the 2 ends and lay them across each other. And then push one end to that loop. You want to tie this dough into a knot. Now take the loose end that is on top of the bun and fold it over. Fold it down and tuck it in. Now take the second loose end that is on the bottom of the bun. Fold it up and over and right down into the center of the bun. And that's one way to get that star-shaped or flower-shaped pattern. Don't worry, it will look better once it's baked. Alright, second method, and I prefer this one actually. Once again, roll the dough nice and long. If you feel an air bubble inside, just slap it out. You can see that I've made this a bit longer than the other one. Now once again, cross the two ends to form a loop, and then tie the dough into a knot. From here on in, the method will be slightly different. Now, you want to take the loose end that is on the bottom of the bun. Fold it over and tuck it through the middle of the bun. Now stretch it to meet the other loose end on the other side. And now, just connect the loose ends and squeeze them together. Fold them underneath. Of course, we have achieved pretty much the same thing here. But I think after baking, this version will look slightly better than the first one. The two buns at the top were made using the first method, and of course the two at the bottom were made using the second method. Make sure you leave plenty of space between them when you place them on the tray. They will expand quite a lot. Cover them up as they are ready for the final fermentation. Now we can leave them to ferment for around 1 hour. And during this time you want to preheat your oven 160 degrees Celsius with a fan on, and that's 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And just look at them, they have puffed up beautifully. If yours don't look like this, you better leave them for longer. Mine are definitely ready for the oven, so I'll brush them with milk and sprinkle them with seeds. By the way, I have a video on my channel in which I compare 15 of the most common used glazes in bread making. You can find it in Principles of Baking playlist. You will find many other interesting videos there about techniques and principles. On this channel, we talk about the whys and the hows of bread making, because understanding principles is far more valuable than knowing a recipe. Once you know exactly what you're doing, you can adjust and create your own recipes. So do check out that playlist. Right, let's get these bad boys in the oven. They'll take around 20 minutes. I'm baking them on a lower shelf, so the top doesn't darken too soon. Of course, you know how your oven works better than I do. One thing is for certain, once your buns are beautifully golden brown all over, they're ready. And that's one way to make Kaiser rolls. This is actually my first time making them, and I think they came out pretty good. And as you can see, there is a bit of a difference between the top ones and the bottom ones. The top two were of course shaped using the first shaping method that I showed. And the bottom two were shaped using the second method, which I prefer. Now maybe my shaping skills are not up to scratch, but I think the second shaping method definitely produced a better result. And you can of course try it out for yourself. But regardless of how you shape them, if you make them properly, and you ferment them properly, you'll end up with this. Super soft and supple crumb, a slightly chewy crust, coated with crunchy seeds. They just call for being made into a massive sandwich. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you can use these as soup rolls or dinner rolls, just make them smaller. Divide the dough into 8 instead of 4. A smaller roll will be crustier, perfect for soaking up some broth. But for me personally, this is the way to go. Gigantic sandwiches are one of the things that make me very happy, and I'm sure most of you would agree. So what do you think of this recipe? Have you ever tried making Kaiser rolls before? Which kind of shaping technique is your favorite? Do let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this one, click over here. Subscribe to the channel, click right here. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.